the main things that I think is so important for you guys to realize that being a part of Shoply is the brand exposure that it's getting for you guys from a sales engine, from a marketing standpoint. And that hopefully is one of the reasons that you came on to Shoply and one of the reasons that you decided to become a part of this ecosystem is because we are so unique in what we have to offer, what we are able to offer brands that is so different than what else is out there. And it's the ability to have a dedicated sales engine that is highly, highly motivated and highly trained. And typically that doesn't happen. You know, you come across a few affiliates, some social media influencers, and they think very transactionally, right? They're there to talk about your brand, collect their commission, and then they move on typically to the next thing. Whereas the individuals that we have on our platform are looking at finding products, brands, that they love, that they can then share with their communities as recurring, as something that they're getting, you know, a replacement spending in their household. You know, I just put in my shopping cart some dog food for my dog because I'd rather buy it from Shoply than at Vaughn's and giving my money somewhere else. And it's a, you know, a great product that's based off of his coat color. And so we've got some amazing products here that our field, all of the people, our affiliates, are so excited to share. And you're getting with just the being on our platform, our social media. We're on TikTok, we're on Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and X. So across all of our platforms, as we go, we'll have videos that we'll be sharing. We'll have, you know, content that goes out, and that's free brand exposure for you. Not to mention all of the affiliates, all of the influencers in our platform will be pulling content, going live with your products. They'll be talking about your products. They're going to be exposing your products to their following, their people, their networks. And so what you're getting is word of mouth and just that exposure. So it becomes something that other people will go, oh, I remember seeing about that. So and so talked about that. Oh, that's interesting. You know, brand recognition is one of those intangibles that from a marketing standpoint doesn't always have an exact dollar, you know, equation or equivalence that you can quantify. And that's because it's one of those things that you can't qualify because it's in their brain. It's them, that's the familiarity that they have of your brand. And so we're providing that for you guys with the amount of people that will be talking about the products that you put on. And it's going to be on the proficiency that you have from a marketing standpoint and how well are you equipping the Shoply affiliates and Shoply influencers to talk about your products. And so as a secondary piece, once you've uploaded all of your products into the store, once you've gotten all of that built out, you've signed your documents, you've executed the contract. The next piece is, okay, how am I equipping the field with all the right things so that they can represent my brand with the right information, the right, I guess, kind of information so that they're talking about and coming from a place of authority. And we've got a couple different options for you to be able to do that. And one of the main things that we just kind of added is a training button. And so what you are able to utilize is our LMS software, which is what piggybacks and hosts our e-learning courses, our Shoply University, all of the training modules that are associated with that. It's available to our physical vendors as well. And our physical product vendors get to utilize that software as a training module for all of our vendors to get your information out to the field to help them understand what your products are all about. And so it's a great, great way so that you're not having to individually train all of the leaders and the affiliates on how to talk about your products. They can then go and educate themselves on their own. So I'm going to stop there and kind of kick it over to you, Rod, if there's anything additional you want to add to the pieces that I've talked about so far.
No, I love it. Let me give you a little bit deeper feel for it, folks. So every Thursday we introduce vendors. That's your first chance as a vendor. If you haven't had that chance to be on a vendor introduction, it's important for you to do that because the person to contact and send this to on the vendor, I think they would send it to you or ask for it to be done on the vendor channel, right, on Telegram. And we also, whenever we publish vendors, we do have new
Mhm.
published vendors on our mind, we send outbound too. But if you haven't had a chance to be on that, reach out on the vendor channel. Stacy will coordinate with you and set up the time, whether it's next week or the following week or whatever. We want to make sure we intro you. What's important about the intro is you get a chance on the intro to talk to the influencers and Influencers Pro and the members of Shoply that are part of Shoply at that time. But what also happens is it is recorded and reviewed by every influencer over time. They look at it, they get to know you. That's how they get to reach out to you. And so it's very, very important that each of you are there on the vendor introduction channel as well. So you get a chance to immediately get into the flow with those vendors or with those influencers. So that's important. And if you
Yeah,
can do
and we have a
that,
couple ways of communicating
yeah.
with you guys. So the things that you'll see. Oh,
No, go ahead. There must be a lag. So go ahead, Stacy. And I'm going to change out to my car
oh
here in
yeah,
a
sorry,
second.
all of a sudden I was
Yeah.
like talking over you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, there's a couple ways that Shoply Corporate will communicate with you guys. And as you get published, you will be added to an email list. So anything that we have, all of the recordings from this call, weekly will sent back out to you guys. Anything new that's coming up, any information announcements, will also communicate to you that way. Weekly, we will also sometimes send one text, maybe a week, maybe two, letting you know of just the important calls that we have so that you're aware, and a quick reminder for that. And then the Telegram channel is going to be the secondary or the third piece that's super important. And that's the one that allows you guys to get your videos to us, like Rod was talking about. Once you become published, there will be a email or a text that goes out to you sending you the invite codes so that you can join. There's two different kinds of Telegram groups and channels that you'll join, and I'll kind of go through the distinction of that for you. The channel is one directional, so it comes from the corporate side to you guys, and you cannot talk back and forth. That's a great channel for the CEOs, owners, decision makers, because you'll get all of the information that corporate has without any of the noise of a back and forth discussion. So if your time is of a premium and you're someone that you don't need to see all the other stuff, that's the best way to just join and get just the one directional communication. Then we have a group that it's two-way directional group, and it populates all of the content from the channel, from the corporate group, directly into that as well. So you don't necessarily need to be in both. If you want to be in the group, you can join just the group. You'll still get every single announcement from the channel, but then you also have the ability to discuss things, ask questions, and that's where you'll upload your content that will then get pushed to the socials, things like that. So if you have a marketing team, if you have a marketing sales organization, a coordinator, any of your support team, that's the group that they would definitely want to be in. You don't need to be in both. If you're in the group, you don't have to be in the channel. If you only want the communication, you don't want to have the back and forth, just join the channel. And we set that up for, we know that a lot of the CEOs, the decision makers, owners, the influx of information to you guys is at an all-time high. And so we wanted to give you guys a place that you just get the nuts and bolts of everything, and then you don't have to have all the noise. But it is so, so important that you guys get a marketing person or a point person into that group so that you guys can get information and get content to us so that we can share it. We're only going to be as good as the stuff that you're able to get to us, because we are not actually going to be creating any of that content on our end for you. So all of those have to originate from your art department, your marketing department, your sales organizations, and come to not sales, but marketing people, and then it comes to us, and we'll share and distribute that out to everybody. Anything else, Rod, that you want to add to that piece? I know you're in transit, so. Oh, you're muted.
Here we go. Yes, I am in transit. Stacy, thank you for picking up the ball for us. And by the way, I sent you the slides for me on that in a second. So, all right, let me tell you what else I would add to what she is saying. I don't think that a vendor needs to go and recreate necessarily content right now. If you have content, load it. Give it to us. Let us figure out a way to chop it down in a way that's useful. But then I would suggest creating things that you think might work with the influencers at Shoply that you have talked with or met on your introductory call or that have sent you messages. Okay. And then also the last thing I would say, Stacy, probably a really good idea would be take a look at the vendor content on the vendor content channel. Take a look at the way people are promoting in the store their products and the ways they're using it, whether that's on the training tab on their site, which you would have access to as a vendor, I think, to be able to see it. So get some examples and then take your own flavor and flair and use it that way. That's what I would consider as a next first step and second step.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you have things already that exist, definitely utilize all of that first. Whether it's a YouTube video and you can kind of chop it up into, smaller segments. The other thing is if you're launching a product, if you're continually adding to your product and your SKUs, as you add a new product, do a full launch, with us. Give us some different shareables. It can be a static image, it can be a video, it can be really and truly whatever you'd like, with a short description of what exactly it is. Send that to us, and we'll push that through our socials. We'll push that through to our official Telegram channel and make sure that you guys get visibility and eyes on that so that people know that there's a new product that's been added to your store. The most important thing for us is that we want to be able to get people populating your store and visiting when you have new things for them to see. And so the more that you can get us those kinds of things that we can share with the field, that will drive them to then go look. As we start to get more people onto our platform, things will tend to get lost. And so the more that you can highlight the things that are either, best sellers, a special, a sale, a promo for that month, buy one, get one free, the more creative that you can get with different offerings will help us, drive traffic to your store at specific times for you. I think what else did you want to talk about, Rod, besides that? Do you want to talk about the China a little bit, that opportunity for them?
Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's cover that briefly, and we'll cover it again when the second group comes onto this call. Usually, folks, the last half of this Zoom, we like to have existing vendors on the platform that might have questions that we can cover. So we'll start with that in about 5-10 minutes, and let's maybe invite those that are out there. Anyone that's got vendors that are waiting to come on as an influencer pro, make sure you send out a text to them, and we'll have them join on a little bit earlier if we can. Let me just tell you, as we go forward, there is an opportunity to launch into China. Okay, and going into China at the current time requires sort of a two-step process. So if you are the type of vendor that has the wherewithal and the desire to be in the China market physically, we can offer one option. I would suggest that option takes 2 to 3 months for you to get through that window. And for but the simplicity of the opportunity really is this. You would select one or two of your major products and decide which one of those are most exciting. And if you have some contacts and some input within a cultural market that would be accepting of it relative to Greater China. So anyone that is Chinese or from Taiwan or from Malaysia or from Singapore, anyone that's Chinese speaking, you might bounce that off of them and say, okay, which of these products that I have might be the most exciting for you. But once you've landed on that, once you've decided on that, then you want to go and say, okay, now I've got the products lined up. I got 2, 3, or 4 products I'm interested in. Now you sort of you want to look at it as a replenishment model, which takes you, once you get products there, it might take you about 2-3 weeks to get replenishment done. So you want to make sure you start with a small enough inventory that you're comfortable with, but yet you can replenish. And that literally could be a few hundred units. Okay. And it's okay if you sell out. That's exciting. You sell out, now we get some more there as fast as we can. Okay. But we keep our finger on the pulse. And the way that works is you send the product over to Hong Kong, samples of the product, if it's a consumable product or a topical product, samples. If it's a physical product, you would still need to send some samples there, but it's a limited or less of an amount. In China, they would have to test it to make sure it's compliant, test the ingredient deck to make sure it's compliant, but you do not, it's important to note, you do not have to send formulas or anything like that. They're just looking for the ingredient deck to see, are there any unapproved raw materials in that product? if they are all approved, or if in their physical testing of the product they find something that's not approved, which we of course suggest you don't send anything over there that's not actually compliant with your ingredient deck. Let's go straight for that. Once you do that, then they say, okay, yeah, we can sell it. Then you would put your product in motion. Can take 2 to 4 weeks for that to get across the border and into Hong Kong. And then after that, we just, all of our Chinese vendors, which are growing now, this list is growing and it's still in fledgling state, but growing. You would want them to be able to see it on the store. They would see it on our current Shopply store. They would choose China as their market. They would see it there. Then they would make the purchases there, and we would send it cross-border e-commerce to them. That's a specific type of model in Hong Kong. So that is an option for you. Those of you with physical and digital e-learning products also don't have to do any testing on that. Don't have to do anything for the digital or the e-learning, right? So I think that's a really valid market for you to consider if you're in that, if you have that product set of digital or training or e-learning. Okay, I hope that answers the question, Stacy.
Yeah, well, and I think it's an amazing opportunity, right? So if you're a US based or Canadian based company, and you have, always wanted to expand your business a little bit further, but it's a pretty hefty investment. It's you're talking about a country that you don't speak the language. And so being able to utilize what you guys and what Shoply has done to kind of do the legwork to help give you a distribution channel, give you a place to ship to, a path to be able to expand into another country is really a unique opportunity that not very many platforms would allow and have that. So if this is something that you're interested in, you have the inventory to be able to support a potential expansion like that, this could be a great opportunity and a way for you to segue into some of these other markets that you would never have that opportunity to do. And that's what, as we grow and becoming one of these early vendors, there's obviously going to be some drawbacks in that because we're working through different tech issues, but you're also getting the benefit of opportunities like this that maybe wouldn't happen if you weren't a part of the early stages of this. So,
Yeah.
it's definitely exciting for sure.
And I think it's a fair statement to say that you would not be able to jump into this opportunity in China individually without spending many tens at the minimum and most likely 100,000 plus just to make the connections, get the shipments over there, find the cross-border e-commerce partner, et cetera. So we do have that already set up. It's ready to go. Now it's just a matter of you deciding what products, how much inventory, how do I want to do that, right? And so it's an exciting position for you to be in. You can really bootstrap that whole opportunity to expand into the market. So if you have a compelling product, we urge you to do so. And the way to do that, frankly, we haven't said this, is to send an email into vendor support at shoply.com and say, I am interested in the China market. When we receive that, we will send you back a fairly, it's a very well scripted email that has all the sort of the steps and the groundwork for you to do. And then what we do operationally, because we don't handle the logistics. Our partner, Liquor Logistics, it's actually Liquor Asia, Liquor Enterprises Asia, handles all the logistics for you. So we would do a handoff to that party side. Meanwhile, we'd be prepping you on our side to be able to be sold in China. So that's it. That's the round discussion. Probably don't need to have that for the others that follow on in a minute anyway, now that we've covered it so deeply.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely something to consider, right? So if you have a product that you've definitely considered before with that expansion, this is a great way to get your feet wet with it, without having to allocate, the high dollar and expense of a major expansion into another country like that, for sure.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. On the way of other updates that would be important for vendors as well, as we continue our expansion into different regions around the world, we will always be adding more and more methods for us to take orders to sell product for you. And we just recently gotten a release on PayPal that is now part of our shopping cart in all places where Shoply operates, which if you're not familiar with PayPal yourself, which most of you probably are, but you'll pardon me for giving a little primer on that. If you're not familiar with PayPal in your e-commerce efforts, what that will do is it allows people in Europe specifically and in greater Asia as well to connect their bank account to PayPal and use that instead of having to worry about gateways that are associated with a US entity, an Asian entity, or a European entity. So it blurs the borders further and allows you to take revenue from those markets. So we're excited about that, which should help you expand also in those markets.
Yeah. Well, and it's a very recognizable name. So from a
Yeah.
consumer standpoint, people go, oh, okay, yeah. You know, a lot of them have profiles set up already. It aids them in that checkout process, and gives them the security and confidence in knowing that that kind of a purchasing gateway would not be available to just to anybody. And so
Yeah.
that's a really great thing for us to be able to offer as well.
Yeah. Perfect. Love it. And then I think we could transition. So if you're ready to spool up the first video, and I'll have you run to the first slide. We could transition into the discussion here, and let's check and see. I'm getting a few texts coming through, and I'm going to check the Q&A box to see if there's anything we need to handle. By the way, welcome to those of you that have joined since we first started. Sure appreciate you being here with us, and we're very excited about it. I see some of you on here that are actually digital vendors, and there's no reason to believe that you couldn't work directly with those folks in China. Now, if you are a coaching scenario, it's going to present a few little extra challenges. So one of the things you'll need to consider on your side is, how do you take some of your content, how do you take some of the things that you do and make it understandable and desirable to using Mandarin, frankly, using simplified Chinese. Okay, and what could you do? How would you do it? So if you're an e-learning vendor, you would want to look at different platforms, perhaps like HeyGen or others, where you could take videos and other training and put them through HeyGen. Immediately will translate and put the subtitles on for you in many languages. I think you should do that anyway. It's a very inexpensive, maybe $50 a month for you to have access and be able to translate all of your videos. And if you're a physical vendor or physical product vendor, all of your training videos could also be translated into Mandarin. So it's a concept for you to start wrapping your head around. That's the year we live in, 2025. We want to make sure we can use AI as much as we can to make it work quickly in other markets. All right.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and as we bring on, new markets, new countries, as Shoply's expanding, the new markets' ability to bring on vendors is going to be in stages. And so all of our e-learning courses and course creators that can pivot quickly into the new markets that we're going into and translate those videos into that language, you'll be one of the first product offerings in that country that will be available. And so that's a phenomenal opportunity if you can make that happen for them to have available and be able to utilize as kind of their first products that they have that are available in those marketplaces. All right, looks like we lost Rod, I believe. So I'm going to go ahead and show the video. So this is from Jorge, and it's about 11 minutes, it looks like. So I'll go ahead and start that, and then maybe we'll get Rod back here before that video concludes.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, you know what? Give me 1 sec. I have a feeling that volume was not up for you guys. Share one more time. There we go. If for some reason you guys can't hear it, if someone could let me know in the Q&A, that'd be great.
My name is Jorge Alvarado. I just want to talk a little bit about the e-learning platform. It's a very powerful tool you have as a vendor. So the first thing we do is to go to your dashboard, and you can go to e-learning dashboard. We're happy to announce that we have made a really nice upgrade into the platform. I'm just going to go to my courses and grab one of these tests or mockups that I have here. And now when you go into one of your courses, you will see that the platform has changed a little bit. It looks cleaner, it looks really nice. And the way it works is the following. You can start by clicking on create a new course. With that, you can, the platform is going to walk you through what we need to enter in this information: the title of the course, any kind of description that you want to show on the page where your customers or potential customers will learn about the course, why they want it, etc. And you can add a video there, all the description, what is the course for, and then you can even add a different level of difficulty. You can, one thing that I want to point out, in the LMS or e-learning world, enrollment means that a person it has nothing to do with the enrollment as we know it as an influencer pro, etc. Enrollment to a course means that somebody is actually clicking to enroll to the course. In this case, you do not need to activate this public course, because what this does is that when it's public, there is no enrollment requirement. You still want people to enroll to your course before they take it. So keep this off. And let me just go back to one that I have pre-built here. In this mock-up, we have a course that is how to make the best French fries. I have added some information about the course, what to learn. It is for all levels. I can categorize this course as sales and marketing or social media or whatever it is, whatever category is available over there. As well, we can add categories for you if you need a specific category for the course. Then you can choose to do a paid course. It is going to, and I will explain what is this select product in a second. Just leave it blank right there. And then add the price, the regular price you want to sell this product for. I'm just going to add an amount there, $19.99. So once you're ready with that, click next. And now you can start building your course. You have these topics, for example, the topic of wash your potatoes, for example. And then inside of each topic, you can add as many lessons as you want. Each lesson can have their own video and then a quiz if you want. There are different kinds of quizzes, and just walk through this. I mean, and just, it's very intuitive. You can create your own quizzes as well. Play with it. Then you want to add another topic. It's going to be step 2, blah, blah, blah. And I can do the same, adding lessons, etc. So once I have the topic, then I can start adding the first lesson. It's going to be XYZ, and I can add a video with the lesson, is most common, and I can say whatever here, and then I can upload an image for that course or that lesson, etc. And one more thing I want to point out here is, let's say that I have a course that has, I don't know, different topics and different lessons, and I want to give for free, give away the first 2 lessons, for example, so people can get engaged into the conversation. I can create a lesson and then click here. Lesson preview means that the person will be able to actually take that lesson, and it's not going to be necessary to buy the course yet. It's kind of a teaser, kind of a sample of your courses if you want. So after clicking save, let's go to the next. And here's where you will sell your course. What is the overview? What will I learn? What is the target audience? The duration of the course. So here's what is going to show on the front portion of the course before people are actually buying it. Then you can give a certificate at the end. We're opting for giving no certificate at the end. And then you can always save as a draft or publish it. You can exit the creation of the course by clicking this exit button here. And now you will find your draft for the course under My Courses, under the draft section. This is the one that we were making, or actually the French fries. Now, once you have assigned a price and you have tagged the product as is not for free, but it's to pay for, then you will notice that on your vendor dashboard, let me go back to the vendor dashboard by clicking the dashboard. Let's go to the vendor dashboard. And on the product section, now you will find that course as a product automatically created. You can see the pricing here. I am going to click on it and make sure, since this is a course, that 2 checkboxes must be checked. It is virtual. That means that nobody is going to ship anything, but also we need to check this box for tutor. That means that it is linked to a course. Now let's publish product or save as a draft, whatever you want to do. Always remember save on every step. So I have the pricing ready. Let's say that I have established all the payments, etc., and the CSF. And let's go to and the attributes on the subscriptions. I'm going to say sell one time only. Perfect. It looks good. I'm going to publish the product. And the way it works is once you have published a product successfully, the e-learning course is going to show in two places. Number one, on your storefront. I'm using Frequency Factory right now because this is a very interesting vendor, a very interesting case where they have actual physical products, but they also have e-learning courses. So you will you will find an e-learning tab. When there are e-learning courses in your storefront, your clients, you can see their customers, you can see that I'm not even logged in, but I can click on e-learning and then I can find all the e-learning courses. I can click on products to find all the physical products. Okay, the other place where we will find the courses is directly into the e-learning section. Here is where we will find all the courses available from all the e-learning vendors. So you can see here, you will find them, or you can, as you saw before, you can go to the vendors section and go to the storefront of the vendor and find them there on that tab. Now, let me talk about the training feature. I love that feature. The training feature is it's very relevant for you, even if you don't have e-learning courses to sell. Maybe you have products to sell, and this feature is going to allow you to sell. Let me use an example here with Gully Solutions. Okay, Gully Solutions, perfect. So the training section is meant to be available only to affiliate influencers and influencer pros. Here is where your business can teach how to sell your product. This is information that is not meant to be seen by customers, but just by affiliates, influencers, or influencer pros. So as you can see, I am not logged in here, and you won't see the training tab up here. But if I log in as an influencer pro, for example, you will find a training tab on the storefront. And this training tab has the information that is pertinent and that is going to teach affiliates, influencers, or influencer pros on how to sell your product. How do you set up this kind of information so that when you have one of these, the training tab is going to pop up when somebody is signed in as an influencer in Shoply? Well, let's go back to our dashboard, to the e-learning section. I will go back to our super courses over here under drafts. And then I will use this one, doesn't matter. Now this course, I will make it for free, okay? And you will notice this little toggle, training content. When it's off, that means that this course, is going to be part of the e-learning tab and the e-learning section. But if I turn it on, that will make this course not to be available on the e-learning section, visible to everybody, but it's going to create that training tab. So remember to publish it, and then that is going to be found in the way that we saw this course over here. This course is not going to be found in the e-learning section, just on the training. So I hope this helps. We will continue to give you more tips and more training. Thank you for your attention.
It always cuts them off at the end, those looms. They don't always play all the way through to the very end. Okay, so if you guys saw that video, that's the updated software that we now have for all of the
Even if there's still a lag.
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine. I apologize, guys. And one of the great things about, using Zoom is it allows us to be in motion. One of the bad things is sometimes when you're in motion, you get lost and you lose connection. So my apologies. I appreciate that Jorge did this Loom for us. Jorge is Chief Technical Officer really for us, and he's very, very adept at everything dealing with the store. And he's also very, very good at direct marketing and referral marketing. So he's absolutely a gem. Appreciate him doing that and providing that for us. And there's other members of the team that work directly with Jorge for tutorials and everything else. We're grateful for what we have as a team working forward. So one thing I want to make sure that everyone understands is the e-learning side, for sure, I think was adequately stated, but I'm going to do it one more time. The e-learning side, the toggle switch that he showed you there is for affiliates, influencers, and influencers pro to be the only ones that see that training piece that you put up there. Now, you may think to yourself, Why shouldn't everybody see it? It's a very different thing. The training that you're putting together is, hey, influencer, these are the benefits of my product. This is how my product works. This is the key ingredient you should stress. These are the types of feelings you should feel physically if you're taking a consumable product. These are the results you should experience. This is why you would experience this result. Whereas, you know, on the example that we showed, which was, I think, Guli Solutions, which is a product called the One Wipe, right? They would say, here's how our One Wipe works. Here's why it works the way it does. Here's the places in your car, in your RV, in your boat, in your house, in your whatever. These are the places you would use our product. And so what does that mean to an influencer, influencer pro? They're going to get that product, they're going to see it, and they're going to say, okay, well, I need to do an unboxing and a quick content video. So I'm going to go do exactly what they told me to do with this. I'm going to go out to my car and I'm going to use it on my dashboard and say, whoa, check that out. You know, my dashboard went from a 10-year-old car to a 2-year-old car overnight in a second, heartbeat. Right. And so that's the way they'll do those presentations. And so the way you do that training and how you toggle that is very important. And let's be honest as well, those trainings don't have to be super, super professionally created or whatever. They need to be content that is understandable and quick at hand for the influencers and influencers pro. So Stacey, that's my feelings on it. I don't know if you have any other input on that.
No, the only thing that I would add is just be aware that you know who your audience is, right? So when you're creating the content, like Rod said, is that, you know, if it's for the consumer, that's a different feel. If it's for the influencers and affiliates, we're going to talk to them a little bit differently and give them advice on how to sell something. That's not necessarily a consumer message that we want the you know, the customers watching how they're being sold on something, right? And so that, just be aware of that as you're posting that content and where you're putting it. And then the other thing that I know Jorge talked about with all of us that we should relay as well is the buttons at the top, save as draft and publish.
Yeah.
Make sure that you're not hitting publish until you're actually ready for it to appear in your store. Because if you're in a self-publish mode, what happens is if you're, you know, making tweaks and you're still working on commission, or you haven't built out your shipping profile fully yet, what's going to happen is it's going to populate to your store if you hit publish. So if you're working on something, make sure that you're always saving it as a draft, so that it doesn't automatically go out and people purchase at the wrong price or things aren't set up correctly and not representative of what
Yeah.
you want all of them to see.
Great point. And so the reality is you need to push either publish or save. Okay. So basically you don't hit publish until you're absolutely ready for it to be published, but you should hit save on every chance you get. In fact, even in the setup of your product, if you go from one tab to the other tab to pricing to inventory, click save on every adjustment there. So you make sure you save your changes. It will save you a little bit of heartburn later if you forget to do it, which in the very early stages is setting up products with some of our very, very first vendors happen frequently with me. Right. And so I know your pain. Take the time to do it. Nothing will disappear, by the way, from your from anything that was uploaded already into your images library or anything else. But the content that if you just put content in, it will disappear. Or if anything that you edited and you haven't saved will disappear. Okay, so make sure you do the save.
Yep, exactly.
So this is a total operational sticks and bones. Here's how you do this thing to make your store up and running. That's the nature of this Zoom, folks. So thank you for joining us. Want to make sure that we do a little transition into the everyday things that every vendor needs to be aware of on their dashboard, where to find tutorials, where to find this to set up your shipping, where to do that. So we have a short PowerPoint we want to go through with you and make sure that each of you, whether you're just now joining the Zoom as a new vendor likely to join us here pretty soon and be published pretty soon, or you're for an existing vendor, we certainly want you to stay on and get a little refresher course of this. Now, before I switch over into this, I want to give you one last insight into what these training videos may do for you as well. If you mark them as training only so that only affiliates, influencers, and pros can see it, there's also another thing you can do with this specific tool. you can send a message directly to every influencer out there by saying this message from the owner, message from the CEO, message from so-and-so, whatever your name might be and how you promote yourself as your brand. You could say, here's a message. And it could be literally a coaching session. It could be an exciting session saying, happy to work with you. Reach out to me directly by sending me a message up above in the message center. I want to work directly with each influencer pro I can. If you put that on there and influencers are looking for that kind of message, then they're going to reach out to you on the message center and say, I want you to come join me on my team call, right? Come join me with my team of people. And could you please explain to them why they should sell your product? What's really great about it? And I want to give you exposure to X amount of people that usually show up on my team. So that's another way for you to communicate directly out to the influencer. Stacy? All right,
Yes,
let's start with,
absolutely.
yeah, go
That
ahead.
was the only thing I'd say is that, all of the influencers are looking for to work with, the business owners, the team, whoever it is that you've designated. They absolutely will love to work with you. And if you can reach out to them, give them all the right places to contact you, they will absolutely do that because they want as much information directly from you to their team and or their customers. For sure.
Exactly right. Thank you. So let's run through this PowerPoint very quickly. We have a few minutes left, probably about 5 to 10 minutes. So I just want to hit this to make sure that everyone understands. Once you log into your dashboard, this is what your view will be. Now, how do you log into your dashboard? You simply go to shoply.com, and in the upper right side of the window there, you will see an opportunity to log in. When you log in, you would use the same credentials that you used when you created your vendor opportunity, right? So whatever you did to create those credentials, I'm sure you've got them written down as you should. You use those credentials to get in. Once you get in, this is your first landing spot. So you click log in, it'll still show you the store. And on the top right-hand side of all of the links, there will be a link for dashboard. You'll go to the dashboard and you'll see the way it looks in the inside of this little image window. That is the dashboard right there. And the two most important buttons would be the two blue buttons there. One would be directly to the tutorials to show you how to do the first steps in setting up the store. The most important first step you can do is submit your documents. The reason for submitting your KYC and legal documents, which has been limited to the front end and then the middle end after sales have started for you, you at least need to submit those that are required for your corporate organization and the manager / majority shareholder of that entity. Submit those in immediately and pay attention to that settings verifications tab in your back office daily during your setup frame, because what will happen is the KYC or the legal team will accept or reject for various reasons any document that you put in there. So you need to be on that every day as part of your setup process to become live in Shoply. But this is also where you would link once you get in here to upload your products, everything else, Influencer Pro. So all of your license, everything else that you might want to have so that you could perhaps build in other markets yourself, those are all there. Okay, next slide, please. As you've begun to load up your documents and then the dashboard or putting your products in, then here's what you would be looking at. The easiest way to look at this is to go to the left center frame. So when you click on your settings, then it's going to open up the internal frame, which allows you to then go through and input products, set up your shipping, add more documents under the verification tab. Everything that you would do would be here. So this is where you're going to see that. Next slide. Okay, this is what it would look like. Let's go through a couple of basics. Now, Jorge may have hit some of those in his Loom. So if he did, I'll ask you to forgive me for the redundancy. But here's where you do the products and the info. Remember, you want to make sure that you add up the content, the descriptions, select categories. We're going to be managing the categories a little bit differently going forward, making it so that there's perhaps up to 3 categories you can select for that would perhaps be describing your product. But then, of course, within the links, right, you can check on any of the links that describe your product that are there. and you can select those tags, and it could be hundreds of those. And in fact, on the tags, you could actually enter one or two keywords that might apply to your product, that might be tags that only to your product. So those are things that you can do. You can select from what we've given you to select on the categories. You can select tags or even upload a tag for yourself. Remember, as we've said before, always save your updates. Okay, next slide, please. So as you're moving forward there, you will have set up your products and your the info and the images associated with it. But of course, you're going to set up your pricing and your inventory. All right. So when I think we skipped pricing, was it one back? Perhaps.
There we go.
Yes, there we go. When you're selecting your pricing, I want to explain to you how the sliders work. All right. So you would set, my personal belief is, at your normal price or your retail price should be essentially your MSRP, the highest price you would charge, or the highest price somebody would find your product in any other place on the web. It should be the price you're willing to sell it for on Shoply, once you've taken into consideration also your commission margins and everything else. So you might set that sale price, then go set the commission price and see if you like your net gross revenue that comes back to you after the sale is completed and the product's delivered. Okay, so then you'll be able to see the math. That is exactly what CSF means there. Once you choose how much you commission to the sales force, then you want to set how much goes directly to the person who makes the sale and how much goes to the tree of individuals that brought that person to you. This is a critical choice. My suggestion would be, if you have a product that could be purchased first time as an initial purchase and then has a repetition or an ongoing purchase for it, you would set those pricing up, in my opinion, perhaps differently for each one. Okay. So you would consider perhaps saying, let's just say for round numbers, $100 sales price, you might give your CSF $35. And it might go heavy, let's say 60% on the front end sale, 40% to the marketplace bonus. But on the recurring or the secondary sale, you might flip that and go 20 or 30% to the direct bonus, and the 80 or 70% to the marketplace bonus. This is because that marketplace deserves to earn off of bringing you that customer on ways. But in either way, we don't get it in a certain way. So that's what we wanted to set up for you and make sure you understood on the pricing tab. Again, save it before you go on to the next one, which would be your inventory tab. In the inventory tab, it's absolutely critical that you take a few steps, because you may be a vendor. So next slide, you may be a vendor that says, I'm going to use the United States as an example, even though we may have vendors on the call from other markets today. You may say, I'm a US vendor and I want to start that way and only sell into the United States. Or I'm a US vendor of digital products or e-learning, so I could sell it everywhere if I choose. Or you may say, I'm in the US and I have the ability, because the way my shipping department handles shipments and everything else, I could sell also into Canada. So let's use those examples. Whatever the course, you need to make a choice at the bottom of the inventory tab to say, I want to sell in whichever market. So you either say, as a digital product, perhaps sell in every market, or as a physical product, only sell in one market. And then you need to go down and select and make sure you've checked that one market as one that you're going to sell in, whether it's US or US and Canada. If you want to do two markets, check them, make sure they're checked on every product, because what will happen is even customers have a login profile. When they log in, customers will be calling or logging in, let's say from Canada. And if they have seen your product and have an interest in it, but they can't get it in Canada, they need to know that as early as possible. So the way we do that is we sort this based on their location, which starts with their login. And if they haven't logged in, tries its best to work on a GPS location basis. Okay. So it's very important to save those updates, make sure you select the markets. Otherwise, a product could be shown available in a country like Vietnam. If you're only selling in the United States, you're going to have to reverse that order because you didn't select the market. So you want to take the time to do that on each product. All right, next slide, please. So I think the next one's likely to be shipping. Yeah, here we go. Shipping, very, very important as well. Shipping zones are your specific way as a vendor. They don't have anything to do with us corporately or any other vendor. Shipping zones are something for you to set up and match to your product suite that you are offering. It's quite simple, but it might take a little bit of a learning curve. There are tutorials on how to do this in the dashboard on that very first blue circle tab, where you can click on it and you can see all of it, or in the docs section, a section, you can see all of that. So make sure you do that. Also, I should point out that we will be moving these tutorials also into the e-learning side that only vendors and Influencers Pro will have access to. We will be doing that. Will take us a little bit to do that, but we'll push them there and add a little quiz at the end of them to make sure everyone's got the processes down and understands how to do it. So that will be a way for somebody on your team or you yourself to get training on it. Make sure you set up your zones in such a way that you are selecting, okay, this product, if it weighs a certain amount or it's similar to 5 products that I sell, that might be shipping zone 1 for you. All right. And if this second product is twice as heavy or has more product in it, or more types of product, or perhaps is a bundle, that might be a shipping zone 2 for you. And what you do is you simply configure your shipping to say, every first order of every product, whether it's a bundle or a single, costs $5 of shipping. But if it's an ongoing bunch of single products, then I just want to add $3 to each one, right? That instead of 5, so that you keep the shipping price down. If you want to do it that way, there's a mechanism in the back office. Tutorials are there for you to know how to do it. If instead what you want to do is say, I want them all to be shipped under one shipping rate, and they can have 100 products under that one shipping rate, and I'll risk that, that's possible for you to set up as well. But you need to save each shipping zone and each shipping zone and each shipping country based on those parameters. So if you're a US vendor shipping into the US and Canada, you will have a different rate and a different shipping zone for Canada. You need to select Canada as a zone, set up the zones, or as a region, set up the zones, the shipping zones for you, and then go into the US, set up the US as a region, and then set up the zones in there as well. That way, when a Canadian person buys it and you know that you have to have added expense for shipping, it's put together and you've configured it that way. All right, fair enough. Easy stuff, Stacy. But the bottom line for everyone here, I know some of it's going to be new to some of you. The tutorials are on the back office, and more tutorials will be added and additional tutorials will be tweaked. You just saw the Loom from Jorge. Our LMS tutorial is already out of date because we have a new back office for you to use as an LMS for e-learning or digital vendors. So, you know, we're moving quickly and some things have to be redone, Stacy, as we go. So that's it from me. I want to thank all of the vendors that joined us today. Thanks to the corporate team. We're going to continue to do these as we grow. This number is going to be more and more. And we think this is an efficient way to talk to both existing vendors and give them a little tutorial, maybe some updates on things, and then help the new vendors coming in understand where they find processes, everything else. We appreciate you. We're happy that you've joined us at Shopley. I'll give you this one parting thing. I saw a report yesterday, Stacy, of all the sales for all the vendors. And essentially every vendor has had sales in the last month at Shopley. So that means we're starting to pick up steam. All of our influencers and affiliates are seeing variable products, different things they can promote, and things are starting to happen there. There's a few brand new vendors or a few, let's call them quite unique vendors that did not have sales. My suggestion too, if you're a very unique vendor, the way you cure that, in my opinion, is training. Put the training on there, put training on the Telegram channel, put content on the Telegram channel, hook a few influencers in, and then the rest is up to you. All right, Stacy, thanks for hosting. Appreciate it,
Yep.
as always.
Fun to work with you guys. Thanks for being here. And we do have room, I think, for one more vendor tomorrow on our Thursday vendor education Zoom at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. So if any of you are interested, please make sure you respond in the vendor group and we can look and see. I'm sorry, we have one more room for someone next Thursday. We're filled for this Thursday, but next Thursday we have room for one more. So if
Love
you're
it.
interested in that, and we're going to start editing those videos to be each vendor will get their own feature and those will get uploaded to our YouTube channel as standalone so people can find them and watch the education pieces that you're providing for the field.
Stacy, how much time should they plan on spending when they are doing the introduction video, introduction to their products and their brand on a Thursday night? How much time should they expect to be allotted?
Yeah, I would say you talking dedicated about 10 minutes, and then we usually do a little bit of an intro into you, and then sometimes a Q&A and a back and forth with the host that's on. So anywhere from, 10 minutes dedicated, you talking about your products, maybe upwards a little bit of that, depending upon the questions that you're getting from the field and the host.
Yeah, and would it be appropriate for them to bring, short 60 seconds or 2-minute videos on and use those in part of their presentation?
Yeah, absolutely. Think about the things that differentiate you, your product line, graphics, education. You're really talking straight to the field and equipping them on what's unique about your product, what if you have before and after pictures, any of those things that equip this sales engine side of what we do to get your product out there and communicate it the best way, because this is your opportunity to do that.
I agree with that completely. Last sense I would say is when you are on the vendor introduction and you're presenting, push record on your own instance of Zoom. And then once you've recorded that, take a minute, cut that recording down so it's just you. And guess what? You just did your training video and submit that into your store and toggle it on for training. And there you go. You've done it. All right. So that's a suggestion. All right, folks. Really appreciate you. Grateful for your time. Thank you for your vision and participation with us in Shoppers. Stacy, thanks to you too.
You
Larson
too. All
out.
right. Bye, guys.
See you guys.